Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have a really exciting video today that I've been doing in my head for weeks, so I'm really excited to finally be filming this video. I want to talk today about Demi Colour. SEINT's new makeup line release is called Demi Colour, and it is revolutionary. It's going to change the beauty industry. I don't say those things lightly. I'm serious, okay? So, Demi Colour is very difficult to explain simply, but I will do my best, and then I will do my best to explain everything I can about this makeup, and then I will show you how I do my face with Demi. So first, let's take a look at her. Ta-da! This is Demi. Look at these colors. It's like a rainbow of beautiful gorgeousness. So as you can see, there's really nothing here that's skin colored. It's a rainbow of colors. I'm going to do my entire face with these colors. Some of these colors, as you can tell, are a little bit more neutral, like right here, but if you look really closely, you can see that they are still within the color families. Like there's a yellow here, and this is orange here, and then there's a red one and violet. This one's green. Like you can kind of see that they're still part of the color family. So, all right. To explain Demi in the simplest terms that I can think of, I would explain Demi Colour as a color correcting makeup. I think most of us are familiar with the traditional form of color correcting makeup, where if you have some redness on your face or a red blemish, you would use like a green concealer on top of that blemish. And then the color correcting color would be left behind. So you would be left with a green spot on your face. And then you would need to top that with either foundation or concealer or something like that. And the whole theory is that it would all even out neutral in the end. The reason that that has never worked is, is it really color correcting anything if the color correcting color is left over in the end? I'm not sure. You know, a lot of people will use like a pink or an orange under their eyes to cancel out their dark circles, but then they're left with that color and then they have to put concealer on top of that. And the problem with that is then you're layering lots of different layers of makeup on your face. So then you're left with increased texture. It just is never a flattering look. It can look cakey. It's never worked. So this is true color science right here. True color correcting, true color science. I'm going to explain to you how this works. So, isn't this beautiful? Demi is all based on the color wheel. We all learned about this in elementary school, the color wheel. So with the color wheel, you learn about primary colors and secondary colors and complementary colors and all those kinds of things. Demi is all about complementary colors. So if you look on the color wheel, we'll see blue, for example, right here. Directly across from blue in the color wheel is orange. These are complementary colors. When you put these two colors next to each other, they tend to complement each other and bring out each other's beauty. A lot of times you use this sort of theory with eyeshadow to really make your eyes color pop and things like that. So these are complementary colors. When these two colors are mixed together, they neutralize each other and create a neutral. So that is the whole theory behind Demi Colour. You look at your face and you find the colors in your face and you use the corresponding complementary color in your palette to neutralize it. And I'm going to get into a little bit more of the theory behind Demi Colour and how it came about. Okay, let's talk about traditional makeup. The makeup that we've all been using our whole lives. I've been watching tutorials here on YouTube with this kind of makeup concept for years. So the whole concept with traditional makeup is that you find a couple shades and pigments that overall match your whole face. Some sort of tone of beige or brown, depending on your skin tone, you know, to try to color match yourself. You're trying to find one color that matches your whole face, and then you take that color and you paint it all over your whole face, erasing all your imperfections. And then you end up adding blush and bronzer and all these other things on top to bring dimension back into your face and to bring some life back into your face, all those kinds of things. I feel like many of us, most of us, all of us, are always on the hunt for a makeup that will look the most skin-like, the least textured. You know, everyone's looking for that dewy finish these days. They want their skin to look dewy and glowy. So they're putting things on their skin to try to create that effect. But the thing about Demi and the reason that it was created was that the founder of Saint Beauty, Cara, always thought there has to be another way. There's really never ever been a makeup that has existed in the past that didn't show texture on the skin. Show, like when you look at someone wearing makeup, you can almost always see that they're wearing makeup. Usually it's less noticeable than other types, but you can always see makeup on the skin and you can see texture. And sometimes people get cakey, or like, you know, your makeup will crease and your fine lines and things like that. And Kara always thought that the skin itself is so beautiful and dimensional on its own. And there are so many colors in our skin, and our skin has so much natural radiance in it. It's filled with so much beautiful oil and water mixture in the skin, and the way the light hits it and everything, it's just beautiful. And she often compares using a traditional foundation on the skin to painting over a slab of beautiful marble. You're covering up, yes, you're covering up imperfections, like maybe you have a blemish that you want to hide, but you're also covering up everything that's beautiful at the same time. So the idea behind Demi is that what you do is you find the little distractions on your face. Like for me, if I have this blemish right here, if you see me without makeup on, your eye is going to zoom right to this spot because it's a very bright, vibrant color and it draws your attention. And if that spot didn't exist, it wouldn't be distracting and you would look at my face more. Does that make sense? So the idea with Demi is that you pinpoint spots on your face that you want to neutralize or filter out with a little bit of color correcting. And then the idea is that you can really look at that person's face and your true beauty will shine through, and the true beauty of your skin will shine through. So Demi Colour, all these beautiful colors. This is a cream product. It's a very pigmented, dense cream product. You use a minuscule amount of color on your face and it neutralizes the color. As long as you choose the right color, it will erase your flaws without leaving behind detectable makeup. So Demi Colour does not crease, does not cake. You will not be able to see it on the skin. The final finish of your face will be of your natural skin. And I will be able to do my entire face with like 90% of my skin still uncovered. It is amazing. It really allows your true beauty to shine through. And I'm going to use some of these colors right here to do a little bit of sculpting and to add some dimension to the face and really bring out the features that I love. And then I'll add a little bit of blush with some of these pretty colors here, but for the most part, it's just gonna be me. So the first step to learning how to do Demi is learning how to see colors in the skin. Our skin is so dimensional. There's so much color, and you look at someone's face and you just see beige. But once you start training yourself to see color in the skin, you won't be able to unsee it ever again. It's amazing. So using myself as an example, we're all different, but I'm gonna use myself since I'm here. The first thing that my eye sees when I look at my face is the most vibrant spots. So I have a blemish that's healing right here, another little guy right here. I have broken capillaries around my nose. That's always bothered me my whole life, and it's always really hard to cover. So that always bothers me. So I have some violet shaded redness here. Another thing that's interesting to note is a lot of people look at this and just see red. It's not just red though. There's blue and violet, excess violet in there that I'm going to use to cover up. A lot of people look at their under eyes and they're bothered by that. And all they see is shadow. For a lot of people that can be excess blue or violet. And once you get rid of that blue and violet, your under eyes all of a sudden look so much more awake with very minimal product. I have a lot of green in my face. So I'm going to use that as an example. I have a lot of muddy green right here because I have a lot of melasma that you can see. So I have some green here along my hairline. I have green right here. I have two veins. Well, we all have veins in our faces, but I have some right here and it leaves a lot of green around my mouth. Yeah, so that's kind of how you can start to see color. Once you start really training your eye for what colors to look for and what colors look like, you will be able to immediately spot them. And then once you memorize the color wheel and figure out which colors of Demi Colour you need to use, it's so easy then to just go quick, quick, quick. And it's like, you know, Demi can take a long time at first when you're first starting to learn how to use it. But once you figure out your own face and you see colors and you know which colors to use, it's much faster. I can do my makeup in 10 minutes now. It took me like 45 minutes my first time. So it does take time to learn. With Demi Colour, you really have to be committed to figuring it out. It's like you almost have to unlearn everything that you've ever learned about makeup and learn a new way of doing things. So it can be a challenge, and it might only be for the most determined people who are determined to figure it out. But once you do, it's like magic. It's really amazing. I have been loving it. So let's stop chatting and just get to it. Let's do the face, and I'll chat a little bit more while I'm doing it, but I'm going to explain and show you how I do my face with Demi Colour. Before I get started, I want to show you the new brushes. These are the new SEINT brushes that are for Demi Colour. There are 5 of them. They have silver handles and they have white bristles, and they are beautiful and so soft. And I'm sorry, I do need to clean them. So they're a little bit dirty looking, just a little bit stained from previous applications. So sorry about that. Just try to ignore that. But we have the shape brush, which is like the biggest of the brushes. I use this for my Sculpt a lot. Then we have the wash brush for a wash of color. I tend to use this for a blush. Then we have the blur brush, a little bit more defined. And we have the bright brush and the spot. Teeny tiny tip on that one. This is very important. I tend to use, and I dropped one, but I tend to use these two the most. The bright brush and the spot brush, the 2 smallest brushes for my whole face. It's a lot of spot concealing. Okay, I like to start with my sculpting. So that would be contouring for most people to understand, but I'm going to do a little bit of sculpting of my face first. You don't have to start with sculpting. It's just kind of the way that I've enjoyed doing things, because then I have that out of the way and then I can see what I need to neutralize. So with sculpting, color theory still applies. I will still be looking at the colors in my face to determine which color of Demi to use so that I know that I will have a neutral result. Like for example, if you have a lot of redness on your face right here and then you add a red toned sculpt, it'll just make it look redder, and we don't want that. So you have to look at the color that you're applying on top before you get started. So for me, and it might be difficult to spot if you're not used to seeing colors in the skin, you'll get it, I promise. But right here is where I'm going to start, under my cheekbone. And all right here is very green on me. It's very green, muddy green. So my perfect sculpt color is red. So I'm going to use my shape brush and just get a little bit of that red toned sculpt. And I'm just going to apply this right underneath where my cheekbone is here. Just hugging the underside of my cheekbone like I would with any other contouring. And boom, instant cheekbone. Isn't she gorgeous? And another thing to note is that not everyone has a symmetrical face. So if you use red sculpt on one side of your face, you might use a completely different sculpt on the other side. You just always have to not be on autopilot and just make sure that you're looking. For me, I mean, I definitely have the green right here, but I have some more pink if you look here, back here. So I'm going to use 2 different colors under my cheekbone here. So I'm going to use the red right here where I see that green tone. And I'm stopping when I get to the pinker area. Then I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to go into the green. I'm going to bring that back here a little bit more. And I'm going to go on top here because I have a lot more pinkness there too. So I'm using the green sculpt now to really make that pop, just blending it all. These creams are highly, highly pigmented, so you need the teeniest, tiniest amount of product. I'm just adding a little bit more of that green on top of the red that I had placed already because my cheeks are a little bit more pink. So I want to make sure that I really like a strong sculpt. So I'm just adding a little bit of that green to really bring out my cheekbones. Now I'm going to do some forehead sculpting. I'm going to use more red sculpt because if you look, I have paler skin right here. All along my hairline, it's more pale than the forehead skin. It's difficult to see, but it is very green toned. And I have found that the red just works perfectly for me. So I'm using the neutral red. And I'm only placing this where I see that green skin. I don't want to overlap into any other colors of my skin. You really want to stay inside the lines of the areas that you're filtering and correcting, because if you don't, you're just creating a new color problem that you're going to have to solve. So I'm making sure to just get up into my hairline here. Okay. And I do have those sort of muddy green areas right here that I pointed out before, so I'm using some more red over those spots. I like to start with one color and go over that area everywhere where I see that. So like I'm hitting all my green sculpting areas right now with the red. And it just adds so much more dimension. With Demi, there's no such thing as bronzer. You're just using the colors to create neutral color. Like, look at that. You can already tell that like my skin looks like it has a lot more color and definition there. Okay. All right, we're gonna continue our sculpting. We're gonna do the nose now, which I know a lot of people are nervous about, but I'm going to sculpt my nose. I'm going to use the blur brush, and I like to use this more dome-shaped side. Now, I have green, once again, right here. As you can tell, the red sculpt is my favorite for my face, so I like to take the red and thoughtfully get these areas of green on either side of my nose here. Just really make sure that those are neutralized. It goes up a little higher too, so I'm just there, just like that. And let's see, that's good. Now, once again, my nose on the top is a little bit more pinky, so I'm going to use the green sculpt now. Okay, so I'm going to use the green sculpt to really sculpt my nose here on the top of the bridge of my nose. There we go. My nose is looking naturally sculpted. It's like a natural nose job, if you will. Last place I like to sculpt is under my bottom lip, like always, because I like to look a little bit more pouty. Like I said before, I have a lot of green all around my mouth, so I'm definitely going to use the red sculpt here. There we go. Looking oh so pouty. Okay. Now that we are done with the sculpts, we are going to start to neutralize some distractions on the face. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm voguing, I don't know. It just makes me feel so fabulous, what can I say? I'm gonna leave this bad boy for last because I like to do my spot concealing at the very end. So we're gonna leave this situation alone. So the first thing that I look at on my face that really draws my attention is, like I said, this redness around my nose really grabs my eye. And so I want to get rid of that, or at least tone it down so it's not so distracting. It's sometimes with Demi, it's not always about completely getting rid of any bit of color on your face. You don't want your face to be colorless. You want to keep that beauty of that dimension and your natural color, but this is just too dark for me. It's too much color. It bothers me. This is a more violet red tone, so I'm going to use more yellows, yellow greens in this area. And right in the crease of my nose, it's very blue. So I'm going to use orange to neutralize the blue. So let's start there. Let's start right in the crease. I'm going to use 01 with just some neutralizing orange right here. Very small amount of it. Just get right in that crease of the nose. Whenever I'm doing this neutralizing and brightening, I like to apply the color with a small brush and then flip the brush around and use this fluffy side for blending. It works wonderfully. Now, it already looks so much better, but I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm going to use a green yellow shade. It's mostly yellow, it's just a hint of green in it. And I'm just going to very lightly, oh, that was a little too much, let's see. You really don't want to use too much product because then it will start to look sort of pale and ashy. So you really got to have light hand. A little too much, just trying to blend that out. There we go. So much better there. Okay. Now I'll just finish up the other side. I've always struggled over the years to cover this area of my nose without there being visible makeup sitting in that crevice. And Demi is the first time that I've really been able to tone it down and just make it look natural without any visible makeup. It's amazing. All right, the next thing I want to do, the next thing that's sort of jumping out at me is my eyes. Like most people, I have a little bit. The skin under our eyes is so thin that you see all of the blood supply, all the capillaries. If you have any melasma, like I tend to do like right here, or like little freckles, like that adds color. Like it's just really typical for most of us to have some sort of darkness showing through under our eyes. The thing about under eyes that's so amazing with Demi is that using any other makeup, like the under eye area can't handle a lot of makeup. It can't handle thick concealers without looking somewhat cakey or creasing or any of that. And I always get creasing usually with traditional forms of makeup, so then I have to use powder on top of that. And it's just never been 100% satisfactory. Like, can I make it look pretty good, especially using my SEINT 3D foundation? Yeah, it looks great. But like, I love how using Demi, I can neutralize these tones and make it look like I just look like that. Like I just woke up with bright under eyes. It's amazing. So we are going to start tackling that area next. Now we are going to start using the teeny tiny brush. And although this might seem tedious, you can get really fast at it, and you won't have to touch up throughout the day. It'll look fabulous for the rest of the day. You're really guaranteeing to use a tiny bit of product with this. This is just really the way to do it. I'm gonna have to use a hand mirror, so I hope I can make this easy for you guys to see. Okay, so I have a couple little muddy spots that are some excess green, and they are little melasma freckles. So I'm using pink to neutralize those little spots. Sometimes if you just look at the most distracting thing that you're seeing, sometimes it can literally just be a couple freckles. Then once you eliminate just those few little spots, then all of a sudden you don't see them anymore and you can look at everything else. And it's like that one little distraction was taken away. Okay, that looks good. Now right here, I have like some excess violet red right here that you can see. I'm going to take the tiniest little dot of yellow green on my brightening brush, the tiniest bit, and very carefully, just where I see that violet red, just a couple little spots, I'm just going to thoughtfully, see, just a teeny tiny bit. Then I'm using the other end of the brush to very gently blend those. And there we go. Okay. Now, if you look here, I have a lot of darkness right here. See these right here? These are veins under my skin that are very blue. So I'm going to take, let's see, they're like a violet blue. Like if you can see, there's like a little bit excess blue and purple. So I'm going to take yellow orange on the same brightening brush. And I'm just gonna really gently dab over those spots that I see those veins. And it just tones them down and brightens the whole eye area up. Such a simple step has such impact. Okay. Really brighten that up. Now, the last step, I'm gonna go back to my spot brush. And a lot of us have these shadows right here from like an eye bag, and you can see underneath there the blood supply. I have some veins, and I have one, especially right here, there's a capillary right here that I find very distracting. So I'm just going to try to tone that down by using orange. So I'm using 01, and I'm just going to paint directly over where I see that vein. And then I like to take this orange and apply it right where I see that blue shadow. Like that. Looks silly, but now I'm just going to gently blend them, and voila. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? It looks so bright and beautiful. Okay, now we are done with the eyes for now. I'm gonna add a little bit of eyeshadow in a few minutes, but I'm gonna move on to a different area. So I have a little bit of redness on my cheeks. I generally like to leave it because I feel like it's actually kind of like a natural blush, but I have one spot right here that's just a little bit darker and it bothers me just a little bit. So I'm going to take, I have some excess, today it's looking very purpley, so I have some excess violet right there. So I'm gonna take a little bit of yellow and I'm gonna use the yellow with just a hint of green in it. And I'm gonna find the spots that just really stand out to me. With Demi, you're not going to be just putting, like I wouldn't just put a color over a large area right here because, you know, it's not foundation. You're still spot concealing. And it's amazing how if you find just a couple spots within the larger spot that are extra vibrant and extra saturated, all you have to do is just tone those couple spots down and it's like all of a sudden it doesn't look so vibrant. A couple spots that I was just trying to get right there. And I'm gonna leave the rest of that because to me, that looks like natural blush and I don't wanna get rid of it. Okay, now the last area, let's do a little bit of work around my mouth. Like I said, I have all this green right here that really bothers me. So I'm going to use some pink and I'm gonna try to just, I like to just sort of paint where I see that vein and then blend it out a little bit so it gets the surrounding area as well. Looks better. Or you could just take a more fluffy brush and just get those spots. And I added such a light layer that it didn't really add any color. It just took away a little bit of that green. I also like to add a little bit of pink to my upper lip. I have some melasma right here, like a lot of people do because of the sun coming from above. We all tend to have a little bit of darkness on that upper lip. Melasma is typically green. I did not know that for the longest time, and now that I see it, I can't unsee it, but it's a very mulchy brown color. So it's like an earthy brown. So yes, it's brown, but it's a green brown. So you really need to use something red toned from the red family to erase it. I have one other exception that I will show you. So I have more intense melasma up here. I used some red earlier to sort of neutralize a lot of the green that's here, but I do have some specific spots that are orange. Orange is very rare on the skin. I don't really see it that often. It would have to be a very vibrant orange, which I feel these spots are. So I like to take blue, the tiniest amount of blue. You really got to be careful with that. And just find those orange spots. Make sure you're staying inside the lines of where you see a spot like that. And just lightly touch on it. You really have to stay inside the lines. If you go outside the lines, then you're sort of creating a new problem. And we call it the halo effect, because then the thing that you were trying to neutralize is in the middle of the halo, and then you have a halo of the correcting color around it. That's not what we want. Okay, we're done with the face. I'm just gonna do some spot concealing real quick. So I just have a few. There's one right here that looks very, very red to me, but it has a little bit of a violet to it. So I'm going to use green with a little bit of yellow in it. And like I said, make sure you stay inside the lines. If you use green to cover up a blemish and then you notice that it leaves behind an ashy shadow, then that might mean that it has too much blue. So that means that you shouldn't have used green. You should have used something more yellow. That's usually what that means. A little spot up here. I'm using more of a yellow tone for these because these are more purple to me. Ooh, that was too much. There we go. It's really fun. I love spot concealing because it's like going around with a magic eraser and just literally erasing your flaws. I'm grabbing any little purple dots that I see with a yellow that I want to erase. All gone. Let's deal with this. Okay. So I'm gonna get this little one first. That looked very purple and I had some yellow left on my brush, so I just thought I would take care of that real quick before I start dipping into other colors. So this one is very angry. It's a scab and it has multiple colors. Most blemishes are not just one color. They're usually multiple, and this one definitely is. So I'm gonna have to use multiple colors. There's a couple spots that look very vibrant violet, so I'm using yellow on those spots. Okay, that started the process. Now there's more of a red violet going on, so I'm going to use a yellow with a smidge of green in it. This is also very difficult because it's on the side of my face, so I'm having a hard time seeing it, but that worked really nicely. Okay, then I'm going to use a greener tint here to get around the perimeter where it looks more pinky. If you're having trouble covering a blemish or it doesn't stay where you put it, it might just be that you have the wrong colors. Okay, blend this a little bit better. All right, I'm still seeing some really dark, vibrant purple, so I'm wondering if that's actually some blue. So I'm gonna grab some orange and try that. Some of this is trial and error, and you might not even need to like start over and try a different color, but that's fine. Oh yeah, that was definitely blue. The orange worked like a charm. Look at that. And the cool thing about that is my blemish has disappeared now, but it doesn't look like there's any makeup sitting on top of it. And I don't even need to use powder to set it. There is no need to use setting powder or setting spray or primers or anything like that with Demi. Completely unnecessary. It will stay. And my skin will have a natural skin-like finish all day long. Sometimes the key really is knowing when to stop. You know, you don't want to cover every single little capillary and flaw because then you'll look like a porcelain doll and you won't look like a human with beautiful skin. So you got to be a little careful. I think I'm going to stop. Okay, now I'm going to go and add just a little bit of blush, just a little bit of a natural flush. I'm going to use my wash brush, and I like to use the smaller side actually, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to use a more vibrant pink, a red. The reds just really work on my skin, so I'm going to use just a tiny bit of that, and I'm going to add that to my cheeks. And I'm going to just sort of avoid the areas where I already have natural redness because it's like a natural blush, and then it all evens out. Just very lightly swirling these super pigmented colors for a little natural blush. I'm going to do my lips. I'm going to use my spot brush with a little bit of the red contour shade to really line my lips, give it some definition. I've really started loving using my natural lip color as lip color. I just like to define them. So that they look really naturally done without having to look done. And that's it for the lips, honestly. Now, let's do the full Monty today. We're gonna do some brows. I like to use the dark blue Sculpt shade for my brows. So this is actually a blue pigment, but it looks perfect in my brows. Now I'm gonna add some eyeshadow. The cool thing about using Demi on your eyes is that it really gives that effect that eyeshadow does, where it defines your eyes and really makes them pop, but it doesn't look like you're wearing eyeshadow. It looks like your eyes just look like that. Like what? So the first thing I'm gonna do is take yellow with a little smidge of green in it. And I'm talking the tiniest amount. I'm just running that over my lid near the lash line because I have a lot of veins there. Look how it immediately looks brighter. Immediately looks brighter. I'm gonna switch and use my blur brush. I love using this little dome shape side for eyeshadow. So let's see. I'm actually seeing a lot of blue on my eyelids today. My eyelids, I swear, change colors all the time. So I'm gonna use a little bit of the orange Sculpt shade where I see that blue. I got a little too much on my brush, so it's a little brighter than I intended. Oopsie daisies. Just a little bit of orange. And then I'm going to use, in this area right here, it's very yellow. So I'm gonna go dip into the violet Sculpt shade. And I'm gonna define this area of my crease with violet. And then I'm going to take some violet and I'm gonna run that under my bottom lash line. Very yellow under there for me. Ooh, that was a lot, but I kind of like it. I like that. Sweet. Okay. I'm actually going to dip my spot brush into a light blue lavender shade. And you see how this area of my inner corners look a little bit yellow? I'm gonna dab on this lavender shade. And it is going to brighten so beautifully. You see how much light that adds to my inner corners? Then I'm gonna take a little bit of that violet shade, apply it along my brow bone. Then I'm gonna take some of that lavender and apply that to the places where I would normally use illuminator. It's a really pretty brightening shade. Just gonna take a smidge of that lavender and add it right here. Now I'm actually going to use the balm and the gloss to show you how they illuminate the skin. So I'm going to use the balm first because I don't want something too shiny. And I'm just going to dab that on the high points of my cheekbones, like anywhere where I would normally put illuminator, and it just moisturizes the skin and brings out that natural radiance without using a shimmer. So it looks natural. And it's not sticky. Just a tiny bit. Then I'm going to switch and use the gloss for my lips. Just for a little moisture and shine. Looks really healthy. Okay, that's it. That's my whole Demi face. And this was the full routine, like eyes, lips, everything. This is my full Demi routine. So let me know what you guys think. It's truly amazing because I feel like the big difference for me with Demi versus any other type of makeup that I've used is that when I walk past the mirror and I see myself, what I would normally say if I'm having like a good makeup day and I like how I look, I would normally say in my head like, oh wow, my makeup looks really good today. But now I feel like when I look in the mirror, I say to myself, like, I look beautiful today, because I feel like this is really me. Like, I'm barely wearing makeup anywhere. It's just, I mean, I feel like all of this right here, all of this right here, like it's all just, it's me mostly, with a little bit of pizzazz to bring out my favorite features. And it's just the coolest. And it lasts all day. It doesn't crease. I mean, it just stays looking perfect all day without a setting spray, without a powder, without all the things, and it just looks perfect. Like even in direct sunlight, you cannot see that I'm wearing makeup. I will put a photo at the end of this video that I took of me in direct sunlight, and you cannot see visible makeup on my skin. It is just, it's amazing. You know, it's like I don't want to be putting down any other type of makeup because like I still love my SEINT 3D foundation. I still love it. I still wear it. I feel like they have different strengths and different purposes. Like, if you're the type of person, or like, if you're the type of person who has to get out the door in 5 minutes and doesn't have a lot of time, or you're a busy mom, or like you just want to look put together really quickly with a makeup that looks as natural and skin-like as possible, and that if you really have a glam evening and you want to have a really snatched contour and just look super glam with like a glam eye look and all that, then more traditional makeup is probably for you, and using SEINT 3D foundation is probably the way to go. If you have more time to put your makeup on, if you're an artistic person who really loves artistic expression, if you're an artist, if you understand color theory and this whole method really intrigues you, and you want to, if you have skin concerns that you're curious about, maybe this will cover it up, then maybe Demi is a thing that might be really exciting for you. So I just feel like it's like adding another tool to my toolbox. I have like this cool new makeup that I can use. And I kind of bounce back and forth between my SEINT 3D makeup and my Demi Colour. It just depends on my mood or what I have going on that day or how much time I have, that kind of thing. So I still love it all. I just think it's a new, very exciting thing that is going to revolutionize the beauty industry. And it's really exciting for me to be a part of it. So I couldn't wait to share all this information with you guys. I know this video is really long. I knew it would be, but it's a lot to explain, and walking you through how I do my face does take some time. So thank you if you've watched this far. Thank you so much for sticking with me. If you're interested in trying Demi Colour, it's important that you get a good range of colors to start with so that you can address multiple skin concerns and have the tools to be able to do that. So with Demi Colour, you really do need to put a little bit more investment in up front to get the colors, to get your little kit put together. And then once you do, this makeup really lasts a long time. Like it says it's advertised to last 6 to 12 months, like for each tin. But I mean, I can't imagine running out of these colors. I've been using these colors for over a month now, and it barely looks like I've touched them. So they really do last a long time. I feel like you'd need to replace them for sanitary reasons before you actually use them up. That's how long they'll last. So, you know, you do put in a little bit of investment up front, but that is your makeup collection for like a year, you know? So, I mean, that's not that bad, right? And like I said before, Demi Colour does take a little bit of determination to learn how to do it. This took me a while to figure out. It's not something I just sat down and did. It takes a while to train your eyes to see colors and to know the complementary colors and to troubleshoot when you go wrong and like that kind of thing. So it really does take a little bit of time to learn, but then once you do and you put in that effort, it's so worth it. I'm just obsessed with how this looks. It is so fun. I'm really excited for all you guys to try it. SEINT has some like starter kits that they've put together. They're called Angel Edits, and they're curated colors that fit certain groups of skin tones. So if you're fair to light skin tone, you'd want the Angel Edit number 1, and then number 2 is more medium to medium dark, and number 3 is for darker skin tones. And it just has shades that tend to address skin concerns that are more primary to those skin types. So you can get an Angel Edit and then you'll be all set. And it comes with 18 colors, the gloss and the balm, and 3 brushes. And both of my favorite brushes are included. So, and it comes with a compact to hold all of them. So you can do that. You can get the Angel Edit. If those are a little bit too expensive, you can, you know, just get a collection of a few colors to try out. If you need help figuring out which edit to get for your skin tone, you can always email me or contact me and I will help you pick something. But thank you for sitting through this super long video. I'm so excited about Demi Colour, and I hope that you want to try it because it is just, it's amazing. I'll put some before and after pics here so you can see. But thanks guys, we'll see you next time.